Good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the Carmel Maker Space. When I took over the space back in May, I saw this as my architecture office, but also so much more. A few weeks later, after we renovated the space, Mike Buffo here started sharing the space here with me. I'm an architect and he's a videographer, so this is where we work. And then Lynne Cook came and exhibited her artwork here, put up this beautiful, beautiful show. And we've also been hosting events, and so tonight we'd like to welcome the Lambourne Institute here to our space, and Shara Hemingway is going to say some words about the organization, and then Lynne Cook is going to be presenting her artwork as well. So thank you all for coming tonight, and Mike, did you want to say a few words as well?
So with the power of our technology these days, I mean, all of you, like, 5 of you have your phones out right now. We've got 3 cameras rolling, and we're going live to YouTube. So, oh man, there's so many faces from my past all here. It's so great to see you, and all the live streamers out there. Thank you for tuning in, and this is going to be up on their website for forever. It's on YouTube. So
no pressure.
The channel. So briefly put, I'm going to pass the mic in just a second, but the channel is the Carmel Institute. And some of you might remember that name, and it was a company that was around for a long time, and I revived it. And I have my own ambitions for what I think it could be, but it's about educational video and building a community. So we're doing live streaming of events like this that about self-mastery and art, and we have a YouTube show called The Art in Everyone, and Lynne was our first guest, and we did an interview right here, and she toured me around her beautiful art, and it's an in-depth look at her work. And tonight she's going to be talking about her process and her life and her community and much more. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about the Lambourne Institute and this inspiring evening that you were all at, because this is a historic event for this new institute. Here you go. Shara Hemingway.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Thomas. My name is Shara Hemingway. Often it appears as Charlene Hemingway. And I am the Executive Director and President of the Lambourne Institute for Life Mastery. And the Lambourne Institute actually was originally formed by a woman named Anna Lambourne. And Anna passed away. She lived to be 101 and a half, and she was an incredible being. And she started the Lambourne Institute when she was in her 90s. And she had all these different things that she wanted to do with it. And before she passed, she said, Shara, would you like to take this over? And I said, I'd be happy to, Anna. What exactly do you want me to do with it? And she said, oh, honey, whatever you want. I'm done with this business of life. So we pulled together a board of directors, which we have here. Arlene Krebs, Janice was on the board, Janice Fabian. Lynne Cook is on the board. My husband, who was here earlier, is now on the board. Maren, Elwood, she is the deputy director. So she's my first helper. The Lambourne Institute, really, our goal and our mission is to help people reach their potential in whatever way that takes and in whatever way it looks like. And you know, that may be for some people to find a home. It may be they become a master of their art. So it is, we really are dedicated to serving those who are underprivileged and underserved, but we also want to reach out to people like you. And basically, you know, we've done different things. Mostly we've fed homeless, but we feed the homeless in a way where we cook the meals, we take it to the place. We do this through an organization called iHelp, which is Interface Homeless Emergency Lodging Program. And we sit down with the people and have conversation. And some of that conversation has been really, really meaningful and really touched their lives. And Anna had been homeless and hungry for a while, so it touches people when we get to say that, because Anna went on to be a millionaire. So yay for Anna. We did a workshop on death and dying with Heather Parsons. Some of you know Heather. That was very meaningful. One of the most meaningful things I ever did. So we're out there and we're trying to serve, and I think that all of us on the board are like, you know, the more that we serve others, the better place the world's going to be. And we would welcome your help. We would welcome any ideas that you have about how we can do that, and if anybody's interested in being on the board. We will be around after Lynne's talk, so if you want more information. But I want to, you know, not only thank you to Thomas and Mike, but thank you to Lynne. She is sharing her beautiful artwork with us and her life mastery. And I have to say that Lynne is just such a beautiful person, and it's on the inside and on the outside, and it comes out in her art.
Here's Lynne.
Oh, we forgot to say the 501c3
Yes.
staff.
I'll mention it. And back at you, as far as being a wonderful, kind, loving person, friend. Hi, everybody. Well, so I was asked to talk on life mastery, and I thought, well, Jill, I'll let you know when I get that down, you know. But I started thinking about it, and by the way, I want to say thank you to Thomas and Mike for your working with me on this. It's been really, it's been good. It's been an adventure, right?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Lambourne, I think Lambourne is going to do great things. I have a lot of faith. And everybody on the board, I was on the board, and I never wanted to be on a board in my life, because I thought that was called that because it's boring, you know. But it wasn't. It was actually fun, and it's been good. And I think you guys will do great things. Now, as far as what life mastery, so I thought about that a lot, and I thought, well, what is life mastery? I mean, through life you have so many stages, and you struggle and you go through all this ineptness, and then you come out to the other side of any given thing, and I think you're never finished with learning whatever it is that you're trying to get. And it's wonderful that we can keep moving forward and sometimes back 2 steps. But anyway, as far as art, you know, there's a saying, I think I made it up. Some of us are artists, and the rest of us come from functional families. And I think that in my own world, I came from my mom's parents lived downstairs, and they were very fundamentalist Lutheran, right? And so I grew up with, you're going to hell if you die at the wrong moment. So, and you know, you ask questions like, well, what about babies, and what about innocence, and what happens to them as a little kid? You know, it just didn't make sense, and they go, well, God has a place for those people. But it wasn't just, you had to be Lutheran in particular, you know, not just like a certain way of thinking, but Lutheran. And I always thought, even as a little kid, I thought that was really, and I didn't believe it. And then I thought I was going to go to hell for not believing it, because when you're, I should have turned that down for all. But when your bosses, the figures you look to for guidance tell you something's true, then it must be true, right? And so it's just, as you're 5 years old, you're going, no, I didn't mean it, I believe it. Well, anyway, this set up a whole thing in me of seeking and trying to figure out what was real, because I knew I didn't believe that, but I also thought I might go to hell for not believing it. So, anyway, that moved on to what could possibly. I read everything I could get my hands on. Everything that and art was kind of a thing that I put myself into, which enabled me to, it was kind of, you want to expand. I think we all want to expand in some way. And the things that make us expand are love, union with the divine, art, in different ways. Those things all enable you to expand. Excuse me. My jug. So that was kind of part of what I worked with to get to move into a different understanding, or to try to come to an understanding of what was real. What am I okay with? When I was like 14, I got involved with the Jesus movement. They were really beautiful, older than me, and I was inspired, and they were so, I don't know. But that didn't work out. It was just like you had to go door to door and preach, and I just didn't think that was really my thing. But anyway, I kept, and I still am really interested in all that sort of thing. Mastery, I guess my point is that I've come to I used to work for Ivan Durrell, and he was a master of what he did, and he called me a master printer because I did silk screening of his work. And I always would go, I'm not really a master printer. I make mistakes all the time. I don't know everything. It doesn't seem like you should be a master. You should know everything. But anyway, I worked through that, and I guess I did become a master of that. Anyway, as far as this, I decided, at one point I thought, well, is art frivolous? Sometimes, occasionally I think that. Is it something that it's not going to change the world? It's not going to make the world better when I worry about, what's happening. Is that feeding?
Yeah.
Probably talk.
If you could step just this way a little bit, because it's speaking from the speaker.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
Okay.
So we all worry about the world and what's going to happen to the world, and is it going to survive? Whatever your major concerns are, whether it's the environment, which was a big one for me, you think, well, those things are more important than art. But then, we do what we do, and not everybody is going to go join the Peace Corps, which I thought about, or do something that would be really life-changing. And then I thought, well, but this is what I do, so I might as well do what I do, right? So this is when I thought about the series of Guardians, was because I was in a point like 7 years ago where I was, not to bring up a bad subject, but I was in a bad accident, and a lot of you know that, and everybody in my car died but me, and it set me to thinking about guardians, and how we always look to something outside of ourselves for like a god or goddess or whatever. Everybody's got their individual beliefs, and so I started thinking, well, I started on that piece. I don't know if anybody can focus on that, but that piece was right after, and I had seen this calendar of the goddess Nut of Egypt, and I thought it was really amazing. And I thought, well, so what I did with that is she's got two. She's got each side of her one is guardian of day and one is guardian of night, and she's got a pregnant belly. In the belly is the daytime creatures and the nighttime creatures. The nighttime creatures are musicians and cats and all the owls, things that happen in the night, and some hieroglyphics. And on the day is fishermen and hammers and dogs and cows and stuff like that. Anyway, that was the first, and then Mao, which is the bronze cat over there. I was laying around with ice bags all over me, and that was what I was working on. And these two were the first two that I worked on. And then it just kept kind of expanding out, and I got smitten with that whole idea of what, and then in each are computers. The checkerboards are actually all little computers, and then there are little emojis with guys in front of them. And because I've been so fascinated too by, in a way, we pay devotion now to our lit screen more than we pay homage to whatever gods. That's pretty much the deal now. And so that was what I was showing in all these pieces, are modern and ancient icons. Like in Mao there would be some ancient icons, but there would also be some bolts and nuts and screws and just sort of symbols of modern technology. And so I thought, well, I worked on that for quite a while, and then I had a show, and then I felt like I wasn't finished. I wanted to keep it going because I just love, because in my father's side of the family, they're all artists and ministers. So I have that huge draw toward God and art, because, and I just am so fascinated by it. So I kept going with it, and then even after that show was over, and then I thought, well, since I'm so worried, and so many of us are so worried about the oceans, why not do a prayer for the oceans in the form of art? Like, these goddesses are kind of my way of sending a prayer to the ocean, because what we focus on, we know, a lot of us know that energetically what you focus on has so much power, and you can really have an effect on, some people believe, and I like this a lot, that if we all focused on the healing in the ocean, that the ocean would actually be healed. And I mean, some people would look at me and go, that's ridiculous. And I know, because I've had those conversations. But, excuse me, mouth is dry. So anyway, but I thought, well, but that's my contribution to say something about it that's important to me. And so that's what started that. And so when it was, nothing was finished when we talked about having a show. And I'm going, sure. Because being a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, I was like, that'll make me finish. I'll just give myself a huge amount of stress, and then I'll, and so that's what happened. And so it did get finished, and sort of, there's one piece I haven't finished, but I will, And so I figured it's really important to do what you love, whatever that is, or love what you do, whatever that is, or do whatever is necessary. Do what needs to be done, So it's kind of a good motto, I think, to live by. And let's see if I have anything else to talk about. I wrote down a Okay.
Commercial versus creative. Living an artistic lifestyle, you must have found a way to make it financially rewarding as well as creatively fulfilling. Right? This work, this beautiful work that you sell here, that you sold. So how? I mean, what to you? How would you define commercial versus creative?
That's a good question.
It is. It's living
Yeah,
into. So.
yeah. And gee whiz, you know, I think that what I always did personally, because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to be tied by the money. In other words, like if I had a show, I didn't want to have to slit my wrists if I didn't sell anything, right? Sorry to use those terms, but anyway, I think that I always in the past worked to keep it money coming in. Like I worked for Ivan Durrell doing art publishing, and I was able to travel with him, excuse me, and show my work with him because he liked my sculpture. So I got to go to New York, and then I would show my work, and I would get galleries. Galleries would, you know, during that time period, because he was a painter, I didn't ever do much painting because this was also because I was transcribing his work into serigraphs. I didn't want to, you know, that was so in my mind that I didn't want to mix the two. So I just focused on sculpture. And so that worked out really well. So I got in a lot of galleries, and I worked a lot at night, and I worked for him in the day, and I became Ivan Durrell during the day, and Audrey, Lynne Cook at night, you know, and it was like that, just a lot of work. I guess I've always worked pretty hard, you know, really. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Life is a lot of work.
I'll drink to that.
I almost thought I had a glass.
So, Audrey, did you got some good connections by working with Ellen? Like,
I did, yeah. I was in a lot of galleries from those New York art shows that we used to do, and it was good.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm not in a lot of those galleries anymore because a lot of galleries have closed, and I'm not sure really what the answer is to that because it's a different environment. I do my art because I need to do it. It keeps me from being weirder than I am, you know. If I didn't have that outlet, forget about it. You know? I'd have to have some outlet, but it's a real healthy thing to help you. You know, you're pouring yourself into something. Like I was saying about expansiveness, you're pouring yourself into something other than. You know, it's kind of an extension and an expansion, and I think it's really, I think it's healthy for everybody, whether you ever show it, and sometimes I really don't care to show it, but it's a good outlet, and it's good. It's also good to show it just because, you know, get it out there. You know.
It also sets off things in other people.
Yeah, hopefully.
So yes, you know, like a great joy of seeing this and feeling this and connecting to Gerda as a female. You know?
Right.
And so you've put it out there, and one of us can walk through and pick up a beautiful spiritual message from it. And so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, it is a spiritual message, and it's right. This last series is about the feminine divine too, you know, because women have been, we're all necessary. Women, men, we're all important part, but I think women have been a little bit on the underbelly of the whole thing in this current society. I grew up in a very matriarchal family, so my mom ruled, so I didn't really even know it. until I went to work and I realized that it didn't matter how much work I did, I was making less than the guy, you know. It's just a given, and I don't mean to get on that tangent, but I'm just saying, it is a bit of an issue. I never let it bother me because I just kept rolling and doing my thing. Money was never really the most important thing, but it's just helps, yeah.
Yes. It actually helps a lot.
Helps a lot.
Helps a lot.
Hey, Lynne, I have a question for you. So, keeping with our theme of life mastery for Lambourne, how has your art helped you? I know you said you're still in the process of mastering your life, but how has it facilitated mastery for you?
Well, that's a good question too. Like I said, it has kept me sane because a lot of things in life happen to push your boundaries, you know, like if you didn't have something to, you know, have a channel, and there are times, let's face it, when it's difficult. Life is difficult. So for me, it's kind of it's just such a helpful thing to have. And, you know, and I've made money doing it, and that's awesome too. So yeah, I'm happy with my life. I'm really blessed. I'm so grateful to have this life. And I'd like to focus on the good parts rather than, like, I'm trying not to even watch the news because, you know, you don't want to, it's put out there to manipulate us in some way or another. Everybody seems to have, when you're putting out news, you have I don't know if I should even get into that, but no, I'm just saying, you know, sometimes it's better just to be in your right now. Look, we have a beautiful community of people. We live in a beautiful place. Whatever our difficulties are, you know, we work through it, usually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a question.
Oh, I thought you were telling me I had like 5 minutes.
No, I just had what advice could you give someone that was really kind of wanting to be an artist but didn't quite know how to go about it, or should they, or, you know, how did you decide to do that when there's probably many things you could have done?
There wasn't.
Oh. I don't know that I would have chosen, you know, no, but I had to do it even when I was in school, and I was supposed to be listening to the teacher. I was always drawing, you know, and I missed, sometimes I kind of come to, and we'd be out of 2 + 2 and into algebra, and I was in trouble, you know, and, but no, yeah, I didn't really have any other choice. It was just something I always did, you know.
So it's not just how you have mastered your life with art. It's really how art helps us each master, perceive, acknowledge, move through our world. Because the artists and the arts provide us with this extra special, unique perspective that sometimes jolts our senses, sometimes soothes our symptoms, sometimes gives us another way of thinking and being. So it's flipped also.
Very true, very true. And that's well said, Arlene. Arlene is the master board member. She's so good. Yes, you are.
Yes, it's not about being on board. It's about healing here. It's
I know,
about
but
repairing
I just wanted to say that because you're so good. What would we have done without you? You know?
Just take the compliment, darling.
Yeah, just take it.
Thank you.
True.
Okay. I just want to, all of us us have a creative aspect within us, and many of us don't have the opportunity to have any kind of training to follow through in it. For instance, music or art, we might have a love of it. So I live vicariously through you, I live vicariously through Edwin, I live vicariously through people who I love, knowing that your energy and your work is coming from a place of love and healing. And I like to support that. And we are all born with creativity in us, but we don't always have the opportunity to find the venue to channel it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really true. It's really true. And anything, I was talking to Mike about this, that everything in a way is creative, whether you're gardening, doing art, or doing cooking, or real estate.
That's really cool.
That's very creative.
Rob from Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, no, but it is. Life is really a creative endeavor.
Yeah.
You know, just to get through it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Follow your inspiration.
Oh, we have many artists.
Yes.
Yes.
She's a wonderful artist.
I agree with that everyone has a creativity within us. And that, to me, and Mary, one of the keys is to pay attention to what lights you up, what inspires you, and don't be afraid to take a step, because we're so conditioned to think being practical is one thing. But actually, in my reality, and in many people's reality, following your inspiration is the most practical thing you can do, because the universe responds to that.
It does. Energetically, you will, if you're doing what you love, you're going to draw to you what comes with that. Whatever success, I really believe, is from doing what you love.
Sometimes you don't know what you love yet, but you can be open to possibilities.
Absolutely.
If something just sparks your inspiration, pay attention to that.
Yeah.
I so agree with that, and the thing about that is, for so many of us, we have the fear that we're not going to be good enough. If I paint this painting, is it going to be acceptable to someone, or is it okay, or is it like, I didn't take an art class, so like, can I do it this way? But
Even if nobody ever sees it,
exactly, it's an outlet.
you're still having that. It's like a meditation.
Yeah, a meditation.
And it's really healthy. It's really good. I think everybody should do it. Whatever, some form of it.
A lot of people have a fear of even just taking the first step of just trying.
Yeah.
That's the biggest fear. It's like, you just try it and see what happens. If it's writing, or painting, or poetry, or photography.
Whatever.
It's easy to do 10K, it's like, just take that step and try it,
We're so conditioned as children that, you have to do this to earn money, and you have to dot the I and cross the T, and those sort of things to survive and become successful in life. And so many of us have this fear of believing that it can be possible, or that we can even go forward with that. And so this is all kind of a good inspiration to us. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think that there's always YouTube. There are classes. There are classes. There are all kinds of tutorials. If you're interested in one thing, like music or whatever, it doesn't hurt to. It also expands your brain.
Yeah.
Like it opens up new channels to just to do different things.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'd like to say something. We have several artists in the room, and if any of you want to speak about, not a real long thing, but if you want to talk about what art has done for you, you're welcome to. Robbie or Mary or Stefania. I went to Stefania's house and she put out some paints. I've never painted in my life because I don't have any talent in that, but I painted a picture.
She is so, what's really fun is watching her, and she has never painted before supposedly, I don't know, but she gets so into it, and there's a whole party going on all around her, and you look at her an hour later, and she's still painting. I have classes like that, many times people have never painted. And it's just taking that step. So, we're great. She's such a good painter.
Shaheen's back there, she's an artist. I mean, we have a lot of artists that,
I believe we're all.
we're all artists and we
All
do
artists are workers.
we do our art in our own way.
Life is pretty neat.
It is.
I also want to mention that the reason that we even started this reception is that Lambourne got his 501c3, which is a big deal.
I meant to say that.
I should have said it before, but
501c, the nonprofit status.
so all donations are tax deductible.
And welcome.
So you can go to, I'll be the foil here. So you can go to Lambourne Institute for LifeMastery.com, and there's a donate button. That's my shameless appeal.
Yeah.
I feel very blessed and honored by Shara and by Lynne and all the artists here. Fanya, I feel that a lot of them are expressing an immense, beautiful spirituality which comes through in whatever you're doing, what you're doing, and it inspires, and it's like a seed cell click-off. It's like a seed cell click-off of a healing and a connection to spirituality by having yours and yours and yours, putting it out in the world. And United we stand as a group of people that are doing this sort of thing, and that in turn heals everything for all.
Isn't that really
May,
I'm very grateful.
may I say one thing to you? MJ is the singer, and she didn't believe she could sing. And Anna Lambourne said, "Sing!" And now she's singing.
This is true.
This is true.
That's awesome. You want to go for it?
She probably needs some.
I can sing an Irish lullaby.
Go ahead.
When the day is gone, as my father said he, I've an elegant legacy waiting for me. 'Tis a song for your lips and a line for your heart, to sing it whenever the world falls apart. Look, look, look to the rainbow, follow it over the heaven stream. Look, look, look to the rainbow, follow the fellow who follows the dream. There's more verses, but this was a little difficult for me because it's about my guy John, and he recently passed, and so when I start something like this, the emotion prevents me from continuing the rest. So thank you for that.